Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books, and today I have a very spicy tea spilling video that I just love. So thank you to Marina over at Young Gifted and Black for tagging me in this video. I will link her video down below because it is fantastic. It is fun. Just go watch it, and I will also link the original tag creator down below. So let's get right to it. Prompt number one is, what book was your first love? First love is always wonderful. Well, not always, but anyway, for me, the books that got me into reading and made me a reader were the Babysitter's Club. So Christie's Great Idea is the first one, and it's it's a really good series. I started reading them when I was in 5th grade. I had just moved, didn't have friends, and I picked up Christie's Great Idea, and like the rest is history. I haven't stopped reading since then. That will always be a very special series for me. Prompt number two is outside your genre. What is your favorite genre, and what book do you really like outside your genre? So if you've seen my wrap-ups, you know I read all over the place. But gun to my head, I have to pick a favorite genre. I've got to go with romance. It's just a really special genre to me. And yeah, like I can't see myself ever not reading romance. Now, I don't have a least favorite genre, but a genre that I probably read the least in is poetry, except for Elizabeth Acevedo. So I highly, highly recommend Elizabeth Acevedo's work, especially the work she has in verse. The Poet X was her first book, and it's just fantastic. It's the book that made me realize that I could read in verse, and I don't read a lot in verse, but in anything she writes, I will read, especially an audiobook. I think that's also the thing I realized was that consuming books in verse via audiobooks really works for me, especially Acevedo though, because she performs her own words, and then it's just a very different experience, and one that I really, really love. All right, prompt number three is catfishing. What book catfished you? Was it good or bad? I tend to think of catfishing as a bad thing. So I'm going to go with Unpregnant by Jenny Hendricks and Ted Kaplan. This is a book about a teenager in Texas who finds herself pregnant and wants to end the pregnancy and can't find abortion services. It's a terrible book though. I don't care what your politics are. This is not a good book. It's just not good. Stay away from it. Prompt number four is, does size really matter? What matters more to you? The length of a book or the ocean of emotion? And I have to say that I've never had any size issues, ever. So either I've been really lucky or I haven't played the field enough. When it comes to books, I've definitely played enough of the field, enough to know that the length of a book does not matter. It's definitely about whether the book has captured your attention in some way. For me, I'm looking for it's either intellectually stimulating or emotionally engaging. It has to engage me on some level. And a really good book, you don't even notice how long it is because you're in the story. There are novellas that can be really excellent, but some that are like terrible, where you're reading it and you're left wanting a ton more, and not in a good way. So I will read anything and everything. And in fact, chunkers can be intimidating. Books over 400 pages can be intimidating. But the feeling of having finished a book that long, I love. So there we go. Prompt number five is out of your league. Name a book that is way out of your league, but you went for it anyway. So ever since grad school, there is not a single book I have found that I consider to be out of my league, unless it's going to be like in a language I don't read. But otherwise, no book is out of my league. I mean, once you've been forced to, read really long theoretical books, you can read anything. But a book that I definitely approached when it was out of my league was The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I started reading that book when I was in middle school. It must have been in 8th grade. And it's written in the language of its time and not in a very accessible way. I think I read like 50 pages before I set it down. Picked it back up years later in high school, and then like read a few more chapters, set it back down, picked it up again, and that's how I eventually finished it. And eventually I could appreciate what Hawthorne was saying and doing in that book, but I'm never picking it up again. That was an excruciating experience that I don't wish to repeat. But that's the kind of kid I was in middle school. I was picking up everything from romance to like the thickest books I could find at the library. Prompt number 6 is kiss, marry, kill. Name 3 books that you kiss, marry, kill. So, yes, here it is. Okay. I picked romance. How can you not? For those of us that love romance, like this tag is perfect. So kiss, I went with The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics. I will kiss that one. Marry, right now I would go with Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I would totally marry this book. I love it. Kill, Magic Burns by Ilona Andrews. Not because I don't like it or anything. I actually like this book, but I found the second one in the series to actually be better than the first, because it doesn't do the same kind of explanation and exposition that book 1 does, and it's a bit unnecessary. So there we go. Kill, marry, kiss. They'll all kiss pretty much any book. Prompt number 7 is the ex you just can't let go of. What book do you keep going back to? And I am not a big rereader. I don't reread books. I usually let the experience of reading books be what it was, with some exceptions. One book that I definitely reread is Persuasion, and in fact, I'm due for a reread of Persuasion sometime soon. It is my favorite Jane Austen book, and actually, now that I think about it, it is about an ex coming back into your life. But I think what I like about it is the maturity in here, and this idea that, you know, you might not be ready for a long-term relationship with someone at a particular time in your life, but that, you know, when the two of you have strong enough feelings for each other and you come back into contact with one another, like if that was really love, the spark will still be there, and if you know, the time is right, it can work. I like it. Prompt number 8 is the bad boy or girl. Name that book that is the bad boy or girl in your bookshelf. I like a good bad boy in fiction. In real life, stay away from them. They're not worth it for long-term relationship. Yeah, but if I have to pick a bad boy in my shelf, I'm gonna go with Zoe Castile's Happy Ending series, purely because of the covers. My boyfriend's really shy, and when I put these covers out, he gets a little self-conscious, and I love making him uncomfortable. So these books, I like using them for that. Prompt number 9 is Friend Zoned. Name the book that you know will be a good read, but you are kind of into this other book for now. I don't think friend zoning is a bad thing. Like, you're on my shelf, okay? Be glad you're on the shelf at least, because there are books that are not on my shelf. But I'm gonna go with Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I'm gonna read this book eventually. I bought this book in Paris just to have a time. It has the Shakespeare and Company stamp here. I don't know when I bought it. It was in my first trip to Paris. Maybe I'll get to it. You know what? For Latinx Heritage Month. Yeah, I'm going to read this book for that. Round number 10 is Let's Get Nosy. Tag 3 people. I am not going to tag anybody, but you out there watching this video, you know you want to do this tag. Do it. Do it. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me down below, what book is the bad boy on your shelf right now? Tell me. I want to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.